Welcome to Real Life with Jenny. My name's Jenny Senapataratna. Grab your favorite drink and a snack and we will get started. Today I am still working on my water. I try to drink 50 ounces of water before I have a cup of tea, and we're still working on those 50 ounces. So I have water and some walnuts. So let's get real. I am a huge fan of those boxes of chocolates. I think it's more of a nostalgic thing for me, but I really love those. You know, the famous saying, life is like a box of chocolates, you never know what you're going to get. Yeah, that's not me. I want one of those boxes of chocolates that has the little chocolate map on it. Or that's not fun for me. I want to know what kind of candy is in which spot, and that candy I will have Samantha try. If it's not the kind that I like. But I remember my grandfather with the biggest sweet tooth of any person I've ever met in my life, including my husband, who believes that eating dessert first is the most important thing. My grandfather always had one of these boxes of chocolates, and his had a chocolate map on it. So for me, there's no guessing when it comes to chocolate. And I have been thinking, and I'm such a bizarre person, I know that, but it really equates to me and brings up the Christmas story. So I am completely in love with all the ways that people tell the Christmas story. I love the unique ways. In fact, one of my favorite movies, probably of all time, is The Star. Now, if you have not seen The Star, it is a cartoon, and it maybe has some flaws in it. Yeah, it's probably not, the most theologically sound movie out there. But I love it because it's told from the donkey's perspective. And every single time at the end of that movie, no matter how many times I've seen it, I cry. And I feel like I understand the birth of Jesus in a new way. And one of my favorite things in the Christmas story is that there was no map, right? There was really, you have a young woman who is visited by an angel, and our whole world is flipped upside down. And God doesn't go, okay, so here's exactly what you're going to do to raise my son. That maybe she got that. I don't read that in the Bible. I read hey, you are chosen. And Mary's like, yay. But there's no map. She was not handed I'm going to have you raise my son, so I'm going to give you instructions on how to do that. There was none of that. It was, you are going to raise my son, and there are going to be a lot of difficult things that come for you, right? You have to go for a census, go travel to Bethlehem, you forget to make reservations, and so now you're stuck in a barn. The whole thing is happening. And when you read the Christmas story in Luke, now it's in a lot of them, and they all have everybody likes a different part of it. But I love Luke because one of the things they talk about in Luke are the shepherds. And you have these shepherds out in the field, and they are minding their own business, probably having an evening snack. Look at me, see, I'm all about the snacks, right? Having an evening snack, and an angel comes and tells them about what's going on. They stop everything, they go into Bethlehem, and they see Jesus. And what I think is so powerful about that is one of my favorite verses in the Bible. Well, just maybe more the practical verse in the Bible. It says that they were amazed, and the shepherds, by what the shepherds had said to them. But Mary treasured all these things and pondered them in her heart. I love that, because there's so many things that are we know Mary's story, right? We know that they're going to come and try to kill all the babies that are Jesus's age. We know they're going to have to flee to Egypt. We know what kind of trials Jesus is going to have as an adult, and we don't know much about his teenage years, but all of a sudden she has more children, and it's not just about Jesus. You're trying to balance all of that. we know that she has a lot of things that are about to happen in her life. She's going to lose Jesus on the cross, and then he's going to come back. And then the Holy Spirit is going to come. Like, there's going to be so many things that are going to happen in Mary's life that are not mapped out for her. But she takes a moment to see what God has done when the shepherds come and really verify to her that this is the Son of God. Because up till then, yeah, you've seen the angel, but you're like, okay, so here I am. Like, I've visited I think it's cousin Elizabeth, and, that's great. And she had John, and woo, but is this like, you're questioning what's going on right now, right? You are not in an inn in your hometown. You're not even at home with your family. You are in a place that you do not know, that you are not comfortable in. And, they say born in a barn. Like, I don't really know what that means, but you're not in a comfortable place. You really have to be second guessing that all of this is true, right? You have to be like, okay, Lord, is this really your son? Because this doesn't feel like how you would welcome your son into the world, right? This doesn't feel right to me. And that God sent the shepherds to really confirm to her that moment that this is my son and I do have a plan. And as I have been pondering the movie The Star, because that's the Christmas story that I've been thinking about, it really shows me that our life is so much like Mary's. We have those moments that we're like, okay, God's got a plan. It's going to be great. Woohoo! And then we're at work and we're like, Lord, this could not be your plan. Our relationships are falling apart. Our finances are falling apart. Lord, this cannot be your plan. Like, I do not see this. Nothing about this seems to be right. You've been there. You may be there right now. And I'm here to encourage you to take time to write out a map from before. So I read a little quote on Facebook that said, she looks back to thank God and looks forward and trusts God. That is such an important thing for me. I feel like the reason Mary made it through and raised the Son of God was because she took the moment to ponder and set them in her heart, the things that God had already done up till then. When you are in a rough spot, it is really hard to see that God has any kind of plan in this chaos, right? It is really hard to be like, okay, God, there is no little chocolate map on my box right now. I am just picking things up, hoping it will work. And I am here to remind you to be putting things in your life so that you can look back and thank God. Do write them down. People are really great at writing things down. I'm not. I'm just not. I'm not good at writing things down. But what I do is I make memorials in my life. So one of the memorials that I use are Christmas ornaments. And I know a lot of people buy Christmas ornaments every year for their family to kind of represent the year. But I will write down what I think God has taught me that year. Because years later, I will read it and go, oh, I really needed to remember that God provided that financially, that I was feeling lonely and God sent someone to take me out for coffee, and just not necessarily that we became best friends, but they just breathed life into me. You have those moments. You need to write them down, make memorials so that you can thank God, and then know that you need to trust Him with your future because of what He's done in the past. Don't look at the current circumstances to know whether God's moving or not. And that's really hard, right? It is really hard when you're in the midst of it to not look at the circumstances and trust those, but trust that God has a plan for you. And one of the ways to remember that is by writing things down. Even when things aren't great, write something down or make a memorial of something that impacts and shows you that God loves you, whether it's a verse or something that comes to your mind, or someone smiles at you at Walmart, right? That can be a miracle some days. When you're in this season of Christmas and someone smiles at you, you're like, wow, God really does give joy to people, right? So write them down, make memorials, because you want to take the opportunity when things get tough to be able to look back and thank God and look forward and trust God. Well, that is all I have for you this week. I just pray that, first of all, you will be that smile for someone or that encouragement for someone. Maybe you need to send a text message and to say, hey, thinking and praying for you today. I do that all the time because that's honestly what I'm doing. When I am thinking and praying for somebody, I want them to know, because they need that reminder that God has a plan for them and He's in control. Even in the midst of all the struggles that we walk through, that He loves you. Well, you can find me at Real Life with Jenny on Instagram and on Facebook. On Facebook, we have a page and a group, so join both. We're having a lot of fun. I have some really fun announcements coming up in this next year that I really am like biting my tongue because I want to share, because I'm so like, here we go. But I really know that I need to iron out some details before I share it with you. But you can also find me at christconnection.cc/Jen. All of my information is there. My schedule is booking up for 2023. So if you want me to come out, you need to get me on that calendar and make sure that we've got the time, because I would love to be able to come out and share the peace of Jesus with the people that you have in your life. Well, I pray for you this week, and honestly, I say that with all sincerity, that you will find the peace of what God has done and what God will be doing in your life, that you will start setting up memorials or writing things down or whatever you need to do to be able to ponder it and keep it in your heart for when the rough times come. And when the rough times do come, that you will take a moment and look back to see what God has done in the past and know and trust that He's got a future for you. Have a great day.